All right, let's start off by sitting. Just for a moment, we'll sit in Sukhasana, or if you prefer, you can come into Lotus. Lotus can be a bit heavy first thing in the morning. We haven't done much yet today. So whatever you fancy, obviously Lotus, you just pop your feet up onto your thighs and then try and bring your knees down. So whatever works for you. We're going to do a little bit of work on hips today. So if you're not in Lotus now, Padmasana, maybe you will be by the end. So up tall, sit into your sit bones, drop down into the ground. Let the ground have you, let the ground support you. And trust that everything is there in place to support you in every way that you need. So let's close our eyes. Think about that crown of the head heading up towards the sky. And your roots, your sit bones, your Muladhara chakra reaching down to the ground. And let's put aside everything else. Let's gather ourselves together in one nice, warm, big hug. And bring ourselves back to our mat, our place. All the little things that want to poke in and disrupt, gently push them away. And you can imagine that you're just gently pressing them away from you. Any thoughts, any shoulds, musts, have tos outside the door. Be strict with yourself, as in protecting yourself just for this time. And set a sankalpa today. We haven't done this for a while, so think about your intention for your practice. What is it that you wish to make space for in your life? And let's focus on making space for things. And then other stuff will just bubble up that we can let go of. So just repeat your sankalpa to yourself a few times in your head. Say it out loud if you wish. And all the time we're thinking about slowing down the breath, deepening the breath, breathing in through your nostrils, right down into your belly, breathing out through your mouth, through gently pursed lips, making a noise with the breath if you need to. What kind of sound? A whooshing sound, a hissing sound, whatever happens, just noticing. And relax your shoulders, relax your arms, keeping that length, keeping that height, but also trying to relax everything else. And relax your jaw, have a little check-in with your face, relax your forehead, soften your eyes. Still taking those nice, deep, slow breaths, slowing down the out breath as much as you can. So we're going to do a little bit of balanced breath to start with, so a little bit of Nadi Shodhana. But we are going to add in a little extra today. So you might need to open your eyes, you might not. If you're happy with your Nadi Shodhana posture or mudra for your hand, go ahead and find that position. Otherwise, you're just folding over the first two fingers. There are two different ways of doing this, but I think this one is easier for me to demonstrate so you can actually see what I'm doing. The other one involves just having the two fingers up on the forehead and using the same finger and thumb to block. You can't really see. So do what works for you. So we're blocking. Let's block the left first. So block your left nostril with your ring finger. And remember, very gentle. Don't move your septum at all, you'll find that you need very little pressure there to stop that passageway. So we're going to be breathing in. And as always, we switch to breathe out. Think of it as filling yourself full of clean, fresh air. And then we want to turn the tap to let all that air out when it is stale. And then we fill up again. And then we close that tap, open the other one, and let that water flood out, that air flood out. And start again. Okay, so I don't know if that helps. Sometimes I know that it can get a bit confusing on what you're supposed to be stopping and opening. So you open to switch and let the stale air out. We're going to add in a stop. So when we are closing the left nostril and we're inhaling, we're going to close and hold just for a count of maybe 2, and then we will open. And if you're uncomfortable doing that, just go at your own pace and do your own Nadi Shodhana. So other arm is relaxed in your lap or on your knee. Let's start. So inhaling to start. And close and hold. And open and exhale. Inhale. Close and hold. And switch to exhale. Inhale. Close and hold. Switch to exhale. Inhale. Close and hold. Switch to exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Last round. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Last inhale. Hold. Last exhale. Have your hands in your lap, close your eyes, stop your head, so your chin comes towards your chest. Just breathe in and out through your nostrils. Take as deep and as slow a breath as you can, just noticing the quality of the air going in and out of your nostrils. Enjoy how good it feels to breathe freely without restriction. One more breath. Lovely. Let's come into Dandasana. So take your hands. Well, you take your hands as well. Take your legs out in front of you. And after sitting in Sukhasana or Padmasana for a while, this will feel very nice. So Dandasana, we're really concentrating on dropping that weight down into the sit bones. You can really feel them here, even more so than when we're sitting in Sukhasana. Sitting up tall, getting that length in the spine again, which probably went just a little bit while we were so focused on our breath. And we're going to do a little bit more breath work. So hands just relaxed on your legs, relax your shoulders and try and keep any tension just draining out of your jaw, out of your shoulders, if you feel it starting to creep in. We're just going to point the toes. So send them as far away from you as you can. And then we will inhale to come back. Exhale, fold. point. Think about those ankles really opening up in the tops. And then as you need to breathe in and out, move with your breath. So go at your own pace. And when you bring your toes towards your face, think about squeezing all those muscles in the fronts of your calves. Notice what's going on in your thighs, maybe in your knees, really using so much to just move those little feet of yours backwards and forwards. So it's just a lovely warm up for the ankles. And as you do this, you'll start to notice that you've got stuff going on in your hips as well. That's good. You're so connected all the way from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. It's very difficult to isolate. And actually, we most often don't want to do that. We want to be using everything in groups because everything in the muscles is a cooperation. You need one muscle to be relaxing while others are contracting, or maybe more than one muscle relaxing. And so many complicated movements that we can do. So squeeze, think about what's happening in your calves as well. And there we go. Let's finish with that movement now. So now imagine that your feet are trying to come into prayer position. So you're trying to get the soles of your feet together. And you'll notice what's happening with your ankles. You're rotating them there. So soles of the feet together, knees will come apart, that's fine. Again, sitting up tall. And then we're going to do the opposite. So we want to almost be pressing your big toes and the inner edge of your feet out away from you and flexing the outer edge of your foot towards you. And this movement won't be as easy as the last one. Well, it might be as easy, but it won't see as much of a dramatic movement, but you'll be able to feel it and your knees will automatically draw together. All right, so let's back into prayer position with the feet, with the toes, sitting up lovely and tall. Relax your shoulders. And then once more, let's do the opposite. Well done. And relax. Taking the toes out to the sides. We'll do this again in a moment, but for now, just still keeping the legs together, taking the feet out to the sides. You'll notice a lot of movement in the hips here. Come back to center. Okay, we're going to take the legs a little away from each other. So give yourself some space. Same movement, so up tall, and we're going to take the toes in. So think about what's going on in your hips now. That movement is coming from your hips. Toes all the way down. See if you can get your big toe down, touching the floor, touching the mat. Notice what's happening with your sit bones. Can you feel them more here in this position? Dropping down into the floor. Try and relax your pelvis. And then let's take the feet back up towards the ceiling, to toes to ceiling. And then out. I'm sure you guessed what was coming next. So little toe now, trying to get its way down towards the mat. And can you feel that in your hips? Can you feel that in your glutes? And relax. It's quite a strong movement, even though we really don't look like we're doing very much. And then back into the center again. So big toes down towards the mat. Still taking those nice deep breaths, don't forget about those. And then back up towards the ceiling and out again. Okay, well done. And relax. Let's come on to all fours. So we're on all fours and we're going to take the right leg back, trying to keep our weight nice and evenly distributed. So right leg back and then bringing the leg up. So bending that leg and sending your foot up towards the ceiling. So we're squeezing into that right glute now. See if you can poke the ceiling, touch the ceiling with that foot. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Can you squeeze a little harder? Get it a little higher. And bring it back down. Don't take it to the floor. Bring it back down and bring your knee all the way into your chest. Squeeze into your chest. Round your back if you need to. Send your shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Squeeze. And release. Bring it down to the floor. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So we've got a nice tabletop position. Take the left leg up. Give it a little bit of a bend at the knee. And then we're sending it up towards the ceiling. So squeeze up. Keep that left hip down so it's level with the right hip. We're not opening up to the side. We're keeping the hips level and doing all that work in the hip. Squeeze, squeeze your thigh, keep yourself lifting away from your wrists as well. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Can you touch the sky? And squeezing that knee into your chests now. See if you can bring it up towards your chin, curling around a little. Give it a good squeeze. And back. Bring your knees together. We're going to send our hips over to the right side. So keep your knees where they are. Keep your knees where they are. Take your right hip to the floor. I can see very well from that angle. So right hip to the floor. Yeah, can you see? So a little side movement. And then come back to center and over to the other side. Can you feel that into your hip? Can you feel the stretch this side? Maybe your left hip that's having that little stretch. So knees are over to the side, feet are behind you, and leaning into that stretch. Back to center and back over to the right. Try and keep your left knee on the ground as well. The right knee is probably going to happily be on the ground because you're squishing into that right leg and right hip. And once more over to the other side. And that'll be the end of this one. And back to center, come into Baddha Konasana. Bound angle pose or cobbler pose. So feet drawing in towards you, knees out to the side. Hang on to those feet if you want. It can feel quite nice to be pulling the feet up towards you, keeping your ankles on the ground and using your glutes to squeeze your knees out to the sides and down to the ground. And don't forget to breathe. We're going to add in a side stretch with this hip work that we're doing, and then we're going to be moving on to a little bit of shoulders and wrists. So keep your left leg in. Let's take the right leg out to the side. Sliding down the right leg, the right hand. Bring your left hand up and over. So here you can have a play. You can come down to the ground if you want with that right forearm, or you can stay on your leg, holding onto your foot. Left arm reaching. So not just hanging in the air there. We want that dynamic and active. So push those fingers away and up as if you're just trying to get something just out of reach, just over there. Notice how that changes the stretch. So hopefully you're feeling that in the upper arm, around your ribs on the left side, into your left side, and then right down into your hip. And if you have got a bit of hip pain or a little bit of hip discomfort, this might get right in there to give it a little bit of a poke. Can ease off if it's too much. And don't forget to breathe. No twisting, so no opening out too much, and equally no folding forward, please. And then we're going to reach to come out slowly, coming up. Well done. You're listening to your body. Good job. Let's go to the other side. So start off tall, make space in your spine, and then let's lean over. Now get comfortable here. We held for a little while on the other side. We're going to hold for a little while here as well. And our hope is that while we're holding, everything settle in. And release a little. Remember, we're reaching over. Left side is lovely and relaxed. Pinching a little, it's too much, ease off. And then gently come back and go to the point where it's not too much before anything feels rough or difficult, and stay there. And then if it starts edging in again, ease off again. Well done. We're going to do a little forward fold in a moment. 5, 4, straighten those arms. 3, 2, and 1. Lifting up. Lovely. All right. So lovely wide legged here. As wide as you can. And then press down into your heels, lift your legs off, and then place your legs back down. So we've got that gap, pressing into the heels, pressing into the sit bones, and then placing your legs down and pressing the backs of the knees into the mat as well. Up tall, walk forward. So back straight, lots of length in the back. Lovely, good job. Holding forward. And here again, have a play. You can have your arms straight. You can take your elbows down to the mat, whatever you feel like doing. So last little bit of very targeted hip work here. I'm going to move on to shoulders. And you'll be pleased to hear we're starting off with a beautiful balasana. Why not? Such a great move for our shoulders. So walking back now. Thank you very much, hips. Bring your legs back together. Give yourself a hug. And let's come into balasana. Bringing yourself to your mat again. Hips right back to heels, feet flat. And then come up a little and start to fold yourself onto your thighs bit by bit. So make your body long and then fold slowly. So you're getting as much contact between your belly and your thighs and your chest and your knees and thighs before you come up, head down to the mat. And then reach your arms forward. If your hips have popped away from your heels, send them back. And think about really opening up under the arms here. So creeping the fingers away. See how far away you can get your fingers. And notice what's happening in the tops of your shoulders as well as under your arms. As you breathe in, creeping the fingers away a little. As you breathe out, pressing your hands into the mat so they don't move too much. And noticing how that stretches out the shoulders just a little bit more. If you have a shoulder issue, be very gentle here and be very mindful to be
where it's right for you, not too much. And then we're coming back up to sitting.
So we're going to come into a little twisty number. Send yourself over to the right side. And then we're going to take the left leg and stack it on top of the right. So we're back into hips again. We are going to be doing some arm work as well. So try and make sure that your sit bones are both on the floor. And quite often that right foot wants to just poke underneath so that you're sitting on it, which feels like it would be a lot more comfortable. But let's get as much of a twisting motion in that hip as we can. So as always, up tall, and then we'll bring in arms. So take your left arm under, right arm over, prayer position, your hands if you can, and then let's lift. Try and keep your hands straight, your arms straight rather, and lift. See if you can feel that stretch across the back, top of your back. Nice deep, slow breaths. Drop your weight down into your sit bones if you can. Relax your hips. And let's uncurl. So release your arms. And let's swap legs around. So right leg under, left leg over. Nope. Left leg under, right leg over. I don't know what I just said, but the other way is the way you were just doing. Do that one. You need to give everything an equal opportunity for a little workout. So again, sit bones on the floor. Just do a little check. Make sure they are. Make sure that left foot isn't providing cushioning too much. And then we're going to come again with the arms. So take them out to the sides, make some space. And then we're going to go left arm under, right arm on top. What did we just do that? What did we just do? Do the opposite. I think I just did that one. Isn't it amazing that we can't remember? I'm imagining it is right arm under because we have usually the same arm, same leg closer together. Lift your elbows a little. Keep your wrists and your elbows in a vertical line. Your hands might want to come back towards your head. Try to push them forward a little bit. Do you notice that helps release across your upper back? And again, be mindful of what works for you well and what doesn't work, and where there are tricky bits that might be irritated by this, and be gentle as you need to and be strong where you want to. But always listening. And 5, 4, can you lift those elbows up a little bit? 3, 2, and 1. Release. And release your legs and come into a tabletop position. So a lovely movement that ties hips and shoulders together is Captain Cow. So Chakravakasana hits so many spots, as well as giving our spine a much needed rumble. So let's do that. Take the belly down, take the hips up. I used to be bored by cat-cow combination. Chakravakasana when I was a kid. I go, oh, cat-cow again. And now it's absolutely one of my favorites because it's so much of an counteraction to the way we live. And it really gets into the spine. which is key to pretty much everything. So I think go at your own pace today and use your breath. So if you want to luxuriate in it and go really slowly, and if you want to be whipping through it really fast, your choice. Do what you feel you want to, listen to what works. But when you get to the end points, think about pressing away from your wrists with your shoulders. Think about really moving your hips as much as you possibly can, and take that movement to start from your sit bones. I'm going really slowly with it today, almost too slow for my single breath. One more round, or two if you're going fast. Okay, let's do a little bit of strength work. Set yourself up well on those wrists. Come into plank. So lovely strong plank. Think about externally rotating your thighs, keeping your head, neck, back in line, not dipping and not making a mountain. Think about pressing into your fingers. Apparently there's always some sort of challenge going on, but there's a plank challenge in March. So let me know if you're interested, because I really love plank challenges. And then let's tip forward and tip back. Think about your wrists here, not a big movement. You're going to have to be very strong in your wrists. Go for 5, that's 3, 4, and 5. Come back to Balasana. Release. So this time, either stretching away or relaxing your arms or having them by your side. Your choice. Do what suits. And coming up to kneeling. If kneeling is not for you, come into Sukhasana. Clothing issues again today. Hold. Link your hands behind your back, sitting up lovely and tall. Try and bring the palms of your hands together. And you can send your index fingers pointing out behind you if you want. Or you can have all your fingers clasped. Roll your shoulders out very gently. So squeezing your shoulder blades together, sending your sternum up and out in front of you. And if it's right for you, lifting, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Lift your chin a little, get some length in the front of your body. And release. Bring your hands back down. Bring them forward, link them in front of you, send them away. Make your chin to chest movement, sending your mid back out behind you. Stretching out across the shoulder blades. Keeping your hands together, pointing your index fingers away from you, sitting up tall, bringing your arms up overhead, bring them up either side of your head, and we're sending them behind. So send your sternum forward, bring your arms slightly behind your head if you can, and then looking up. Try and get as much of that opening up happening in your upper back, not in your lower back. And release. Enough with the arms for the moment. Well, sort of. Come back into your plank. And then come into lovely downward facing dog. So Ardha Mukha Svanasana, we haven't been here yet today. Ah, that feels so lovely. Send your heels down, send your hips up. Send yourself away from your wrists. Make space between your arms. And smile. Relax your face, relax your jaw. Breathe. Lovely, strong posture. Well done. Hold that. Tuck your belly in towards your spine. So a little bit of wild thing here. How about that? So either three-legged dog or wild thing or a combination of both. So let's lift the left leg off and up, and you can bend and then open out to the side. So flipping that left leg behind. And if you can bring it down to the mat behind you, open up your arm and have a lovely stretch. So stretching across the front of your body, stretching across the hips, and then gently coming all the way back. If you're in three-legged dog, coming back down to a two-legged dog, four-legged dog. And holding here for a moment, finding your balance, finding your midpoint in everything, coming back to where you started from, and then moving. So right leg coming up, so your three-legged dog or your wild thing. If you're wild thing, opening up slowly to the side, lifting your head, looking up, and then allowing yourself to come all the way back and opening up. And then let's come back to where we started. So arm comes over, and then we just flip the leg up and around, back to where we started. Give yourself a nice wide stance, back into downward facing dog. Bringing your head down towards the mat as close as possible, stretching and working those shoulders, and then to Balasana. Send yourself back, come into Balasana. And rest. Breathe. Breathe into the sides of your body here. Well done. Draw yourself up. Bring your legs round. Let's come back into Dandasana to start. That really travels. And so up nice and tall. And then let's inhale up and exhale, fold. So make it your Paschimottanasana, your west facing pose. And try and find your ease and comfort, however that works for you. Maybe you're using the breath to move away, lengthen, and fold, almost like a circular motion. Or maybe you want to take very small breaths, not very deep at all, and just stay as still as possible, allowing your spine to completely relax, dropping down into your hips, relaxing your jaw, relaxing your mouth, letting your tongue just drop away from the roof of your mouth and be completely relaxed, just floating in the middle somewhere. Feeling that your face is heavy, your head is heavy. And making a little cocoon of space for yourself. Close your eyes. Take another deep, slow breath here. And come back up to sitting. So let's hold the right leg. So bring your right foot in to the floor next to your left knee, holding on just under your thigh. Lift that right leg. Then you can move your hands up to your calf. Just stretch that leg, stretch your heel away from you and bring your toes gently towards your knee, towards your face. And then we're going to bend that leg. So bend the right leg and cradle. So holding on, maybe you can tuck your foot into the elbow, your left elbow, and your right hand just cradles. And we're going to use arms to rock the leg. So no, don't do anything with your leg at all. Imagine that your leg is just made of wood and just rocking from side to side and trying to get that movement right into the hip. We're moving the whole of that hip ball into the socket. The head of the femur right into its little cradle there. Okay, moving in and then moving out to the side and release. Holding with the left hand, pushing the knee away. Push your knee down towards the ground. And again, just noticing the pull into your hip. And if you can relax your hips, wonderful. Probably not so much in this posture because you're trying to also sit up straight. And release. Let's hold, squeeze. So wrap your arms around. Give your shin a squeeze. You're squeezing your thigh into your chest. And let's put that leg back. So right foot to the floor by your left knee, holding on under the thigh, lifting up, straightening the leg and moving your hands down. Up tall if you can. These are our last seated asanas. We're going to be coming down into our Shavasana shortly via a few other asanas. So now lovely straight leg. And then we're cradling. So right foot into left elbow. Left arm wrapped around. And let's move. So again, trying to control the leg with your arms and not do the work with your leg. And you might find it easier just to hold on with your hands. You might find it easier to clasp your arms, do what works for you. Your other thing you're doing with all of this moving around is not just waking up little muscles that might be having a doze, stretching some. You're also lubricating the joint. You're bringing lots of movement there, and you're bringing blood flow there as well. So we want to get more blood flow, more food, more nutrition, and more lubrication into the joint. So pulling your foot towards you now, sending your knee away. And this is quite strong on hips, so I wouldn't go and add on a nice big run or anything that's going to be quite poundy. Something gentle if you wanted to do some more exercise today. And release and squeeze. There you go. Well done. Take your leg down to the mat. Give yourself some space. Scoot down. Keep your legs bent because we're going to come up into a little bit of bridge. Just to stretch out. Last little bit of shoulder and hip work. So you have choices here. You can either have your hands on the mat, fingertips almost touching your heels or touching your heels, or you can take your arms up and overhead. Completely up to you. Do what works. I want you to see if you can press the floor away. Think about the soles of your feet, your toes, your heels pressing into the floor. And if you can, come up so your chin really digs into your chest. Fantastic. You want to be stimulating that area. Sending your hips up towards the ceiling. Squeeze your glutes. Work your thighs towards each other. Squeeze. As soon as you start doing that, you almost need to be getting a little bit of a tremble in your thighs. So you're working really hard here. Squeezing, squeezing, squeezing everything. And then slowly coming back down to the mat. Knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug. Rock from side to side. And then let's take arms out in T. We haven't done much twisting today, so if you want to add on to this, go ahead. You can do that by crossing your legs. So if you're going over to the right side, you cross your left leg over your right. Or you can keep your legs as they usually are, just together, and straighten your legs out. Do what works for you. Just do the same on both sides. And let go. Let ground support you. Try not to hold on here. And then slowly and gently back to center. So head first. And then the knees. Skimming over. Swap rounds. Whatever you did on that side, do on this side as well. And again, try and relax and soften and release. Close your eyes, stay very much with yourself, stay focused on noticing what's happening with your body. Slow, deep, even breath. And then head back to center. Knees back to center. Stay here to give yourself a hug. Rock from side to side. Bring your forehead up to your knees if you feel like doing that. Pressing your lower back into the mat. And then come into your Shavasana. Make yourself comfortable, whatever you need to adjust. This is the time to adjust. Find yourself something warm to put on yourself if you want. Give yourself space. Let your feet drop out to the sides. Let your hands be soft and open. Palms up towards the ceiling. So we're going to come into a complete state of relaxation, of completely letting go, of just being here for the moment, not being anywhere else. Well done for bringing yourself to your mat today, for making that space and time. It's the most difficult thing to do, so well done. And what a wonderful way to set yourself up for the day, for the week. Bringing yourself together in one place. So let's squeeze the toes. Clench your toes, squeeze all the muscles in your feet, right into your ankles, squeeze the muscles in your calves, in your knees, in your thighs. Feel like it's a wave moving up your body as you bring that tension and that squeeze into your belly, into your chest. Squeeze your hands now, make fists of your fingers. Wrap your thumbs around tightly as you can, still squeezing your muscles in your legs and your toes. Take that wave up from your hands all the way up to your shoulders, into your neck, into your jaw, into your face. Scrunch all of your features up into the smallest of space that you can. Lift your pelvic floor. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Can you squeeze a little harder? Are there any muscles you're not squeezing right now? And release. Let go. Take a deep, slow breath. And let's do that again, but this time let's make the wave go faster. Start with your toes, feet, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, hips, fingers, hands, arms, chest, neck, jaw, face, scrunch, everything. Squeeze, pelvic floor, lift, and release. Keep your eyes closed. Take a deep, slow breath. And one more. Start again at your toes. Go all the way up your body, squeezing every single little bit of you until you get all the way up to your jaw and face. Every little part of you squeezing as tight as you possibly can, and hold, 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 and release. Come into a state of complete and utter relaxation. Relax your toes, relax your feet, relax your ankles. Let everything be soft. Relax your calves, relax your knees, relax your thighs, relax your hips, relax your belly, relax your chest, relax your hands, relax your wrists, relax your arms, relax your shoulders. Relax your throat, relax your neck, and relax your face. Let your whole face be soft, be peaceful, be completely at rest. With every breath that you breathe in, feel that a warm wave sweeps slowly through your body, bringing peace and calm and warmth. And with every out breath, feel yourself sinking a little deeper, allowing the ground to hold you, to support you, As you breathe in, drawing in energy from all around you. As you breathe out, feeling that you're wrapped in a protective bubble. Make that bubble whatever color you want it to be. Make it shine, make it move gently as you breathe in and out. Creating an energy bubble around yourself. Breathing in and out slowly, deeply. Allowing yourself to completely relax. Bring yourself back to your sankalpa, to your intention for your practice today. Notice if it's the same or if it's changed. Think about the things that you need to do to put yourself as a priority and to keep your health and well-being and happiness as a primary goal. Taking a deep, slow breath in, gently coming to lie on your right side. As you breathe out, as you let go, keeping your eyes closed, keeping that peace and calm, knowing it's there anytime you need to tap into that. It's always there. It's just remembering that it's there when you need it. Keeping your eyes closed, gently bringing yourself up to sitting. Bringing your hands to heart center, allowing your head to dip so that your chin comes to chest. Think about the length of your spine from the back of your head, your neck, your upper back, mid back, lower back. Taking nice, slow, deep breaths. Keeping your head bowed now, just where it is. Let's just rub our hands together. Get some energy going. Really rub them together as hard as you can. Get some warmth, hard on this chilly day, and then cup them over your eyes. Gently bringing your head back up. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, bringing your hands back to heart center. Open your eyes. Welcome back. And keep that peace and that calm with you all day today. And hopefully into your week. And I hope you had a good practice. And revisit it as much as you need. And lots of love. Take care. And have a gorgeous day.